today we're going to chat a little bit about how that happens. We will try a short little activity together, and I'm going to give you some tips and things to bring home after school, or maybe you could even do some of them in school maybe next week. So it's really important to remember today, when I'm talking about everything, nature can mean anything. So whether you live in an apartment with a balcony with some plants on it, whether you're lucky enough to have a garden, if you live near a park in a town, or if you're really lucky and you have access to a forest, maybe you live near the sea, you could get to the beach, or you could get to the mountains. Nature can mean any sort of green space with everything I'm talking through today. So there's no right or wrong way here at all. So I will be inviting your teachers or whoever's with you to pop some things into the chat. So when I offer that opportunity, you can just have a little chat in your classes and write some of the ideas that I ask you for into the chat function, which would be really lovely. So before we get started, I'd love to just tell you a little bit about who I am and why I work in this space with nature. So this is me. You can see me from as young as when I was a little kid out in the snow to when I was maybe some of your age. I know we have ages 8 to 12 on here. So there's me camping on the bottom right. And right up to today, I am lucky enough to get to work out in nature. Well, like I said, I grew up surrounded by fields and trees in County Tipperary. So I think we had some people on the call from Limerick, so not too far from ye. But I didn't think at all about it when I was your age. I just knew I loved exploring and being outside. I don't know if anybody on the call might be in, what age would you be? Beavers, Cubs, and Scouts. I was in Scouts when I was a kid as well, and I still am today. I'm still a Scout leader. So as part of that, I got to go hiking and camping. I would build things out of wood. I would learn first aid. I learned how to read maps, to cook over open fires. So spending time outdoors was very much part of my normal week. And I really loved it. But I got a little bit older, and you go to secondary school and then you go to college. When I went to college at about age 19, I moved to Cork City and I studied psychology, and I suddenly realized I wasn't spending as much time outdoors anymore. Didn't have time to go to Scouts. I was really busy studying and working and having fun. But I was working in offices in Dublin when I started to realize I don't think I feel as happy or energetic or motivated as I used to before. So what I did in Dublin was I rejoined Scouts. And in the first month that I was back with them, I was camping in the Dublin mountains, and it was like a light bulb went off in my head. I woke up in a tent. I was out in nature. I could hear the birds singing. I was frozen cold, but I realized that this is what I want to do with my life. I need to be doing something outdoors. So there's really cool jobs that you can go into now. Things like, I don't know if you've maybe heard of forest bathing or wild therapy. There's lots of new cool job titles out there. What I did was I went on to study some of those cool things, and now I run my own business where some days I'm in at a desk talking to groups just like you, and other days my office is a forest or a mountain or beside the sea. So I'm very, very lucky that I get to work outdoors, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. So everything I do is just to help people remember that spending time in nature is really good for our bodies and our minds. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the research, what scientists are telling us in a couple of minutes. So I can tell you myself how powerful nature is for us. I know that if I'm feeling worried or sad or a little bit anxious, it really, really helps me to go back to nature just to feel a little bit grounded and come back to myself. So that's lots about me. But what I'd love to talk to you a little bit about now is why exactly nature is good for us. So let's dive a little deeper into this. So when I say nature, as I said earlier, I don't just mean big, expansive, huge forests. I don't just mean vast oceans, and I don't mean tall mountains. This could be, as I said, your garden, a park, a patch of grass in the yard at school. There's no right or wrong way here. Nature helps our bodies and minds. It kind of sounds a little bit like magic that you might hear in a movie, But really, it's science, and scientists are telling us this all the time now. So let's start with stress. I'm sure all of you at some point have felt maybe a little worried about something, a little stressed maybe. Have you ever noticed that when you are inside at school all day, maybe it's raining so you can't get out at lunch, maybe you get home and you've got some chores to do at home, maybe you've got a little bit of homework that needs finishing, you end up spending all day inside. Maybe you're also looking at some TV. Maybe some of you who have phones are looking at mobile phone screens. Just think about what that feels like in your body for a second. Maybe you feel a bit tired, a bit unmotivated, not too energetic. And then let's have a think about when you are in your favorite place in nature. So this is going to be different for all of us. I know for me, I have a spot in my parents' garden that I love to go and sit and watch nature changing all around me. Maybe your favorite place is the pitch where you play sports, or maybe your favorite place is by a riverbank, or maybe you have a park near you that you like, or maybe your spot is in your garden too. There's no right or wrong way. So maybe you are outdoors and you're playing with your friends, or you can hear the sound of the birds, or you notice the flowers, maybe you eat some blackberries off the hedge, and that feels totally different. So what science is telling us now, that that's your body and your mind starting to relax and release a little bit. And it really is actually your stress levels or your worry levels going down from just being outdoors. So it can actually boost our moods too. So a really cool way that nature can help us, it's like a little dose of sunshine for your brain. So even a short walk outdoors can make you feel happier and more positive. So maybe there's some days where you're doing lots of really hard work in school and you're really focused on learning something new. Maybe then the teacher takes you outside either for lunch, or maybe you have some PE or whatever you have going on. And everybody gets really excited and really energized and wants to run around, and people get noisier and chattier. That's the change in mood that's happening, which is really fun, and we all love kind of getting out and about. So maybe next time you're feeling a little bit grumpy or frustrated, maybe instead of scrolling on your screen or looking at TV, which we all do, I do it too, you could try stepping outside and noticing the nature all around you. So here's a fun one too. Our energy levels can rise as well, just like I said, when we go out to the yard or when we're out in our garden or out on the green with our friends. Nature can really wake us up and give us this kind of energy boost into our bodies and our minds. It's your brain getting more oxygen. Your body stretches out and suddenly you feel alive. But it's not just in our heads. Scientists are telling us this. They see that people who spend time in green spaces, so when I say green spaces, I mean somewhere with trees or grass, like parks or forests, they have lower stress, they're better at doing their work in school, and they have stronger immune systems. So our immune system is what makes us better when we feel sick or prevents us from getting sick. So it's not just our imaginations. Nature really does change things inside us. Okay. Now, I would love to hear from you. When you go outdoors, how do you feel outside? So I'd love for you to have a little chat in your classrooms. Give me some words and type them into the chat for when you're outdoors in nature, what do you feel? I'm going to give you my word first, and then you can come up with a few for me. So my word is refreshed. My word is refreshed. So have a chat amongst yourselves and see what words you can come up with. And I'd love to hear some of them in the chat. I'm going to stick mine in.
If someone's coming in there, Sarah, you probably see it. Do you happy, energetic? Those are lovely.
Brilliant. Happy is a great word. Love that. Energetic. Yeah. You kind of feel like you could run around, or you've more, energy to get going. Brilliant. Thanks, Grania. We have some other people typing, so I'll just give you a minute. What words do you associate with being outdoors in nature? Yeah, energetic is a great one.
I think my one would be calm.
Calm is a lovely one. Oh yeah, perfect. That's what Miss Eleanor put in. Calm, relaxed. Chilled is a really nice word. Yeah, awake and happy. Nikki Cook is coming in with happy and calm. Excited is a lovely word, really positive word. Oh, ecstatic. That's a great one. Energetic, safe is a lovely word. So yeah, that's a really nice concept, actually. Lots of people, when we're out in nature, we can feel safe and held by the trees in a forest. Incredible, so Skull JFK is coming in with incredible, happy, energetic, relaxed, refreshed, calm, enthusiastic is a new one we haven't had. Loving, excited, brilliant, guys. Thank you so much. These are amazing. You all sound like great fun to be out in nature with. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Granya's come back with calm. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. We'll keep having a little look at those. So it's a great way to it's a really great way to notice the small and powerful ways that nature can affect us every day. And as I said, it doesn't have to be this big adventure. Even noticing the flowers on the hedge on your way to school, listening to the birds singing, or sitting under a tree can make a big difference. So next time you have a few minutes, I invite you to step outside and just pay attention. Just be quiet for a minute and pay attention. It's a really good time of year to do that now. So we're in autumn. So we've the beautiful leaves changing on the trees. So the colors outside my window here right now, I can look out the window and I can see the bright blue sky. I can see the clouds, white clouds moving really slowly, and I can see the green trees and the leaves are starting to turn. So the colors are orange, yellow, russet, red, brown, and I can see them starting to go crispy. So we can see the colors changing. We can hear the sounds of the leaves crunching and scrunching in our hands or under our boots, and we can feel the chill in the air. I'm sure some of you have noticed that already. The temperature of the air is changing for sure. So your body and mind will thank you for a little bit of time in nature. So our next slide here, we're going to talk about, so now we've talked about, I suppose, my background in nature and where like my love for it has come from. We've talked a little bit about why nature is good for us. It can improve our stress levels, boost our mood, boost our energy levels, do lots of great things for us. And I'm a researcher, so that's what I've trained in. So I love to have some research behind what I'm talking about. So we're going to talk a little bit about the science behind why this is so wonderful. So you can see on screen there, we've lots of different cool reasons for why nature is good for us. So let's discover some super secret powers that nature has. You're not going to see these with your eyes, but they're there helping your mind and body to feel amazing. So first up, did you know that trees can release special smells called phytoncides? Can you see that word there on the first note? It's a long word with a difficult spelling, but they're called phytoncides. You can imagine so imagine like every tree in a forest is releasing kind of this mist out of it into the air. We can't see it, but they're all doing it all the time. Even the trees in your garden or in your schoolyard are doing it right now. And what that little mist or the phytoncides do is they protect the tree. So if little insects or bugs were going to attack the tree or eat it, if the tree was decaying, if the tree was sick for any reason, the phytoncides protect the overall health and happiness of the tree. But us humans, we are nature too. And when we stand amongst the trees and we just breathe in the air, we are breathing in the phytoncides into our bodies. We're breathing this mist into our bodies. And it's really cool. So it makes our heart health happier. So it can reduce our blood pressure and our pulse rate. So it can make our heart health happier. It can also boost our immune system. Remember I said our immune system, lots of you probably know this. You could probably teach me something. Our immune system is what prevents us from getting sick and helps us to get better when we are sick. So it boosts the production of killer cells in our immune system. And it can also reduce what makes us feel stress or worry or anxiety. So it's a hormone called cortisol in our bodies. So this is all science telling us that simply being among the trees and breathing is incredible for our health and well-being. So it's like the trees are these nature superheroes sharing their energy with us. So next, let's talk about something really surprising, earth or the soil. It can actually make us happy. So there's friendly bacteria. You've probably heard lots of things about bacteria, us washing our hands to get the bacteria off it, and lots of bacteria is bad. But some of it's really good. So the friendly bacteria in soil can boost our moods and help our brains to focus. So that means if maybe you're at school, maybe you have some projects where you might be planting something, or maybe you'd be digging in the garden at home, or even just touching the earth when you're playing outside, you might be giving your brain a natural little boost. Who knew that dirt could be so powerful? So next, let's think about sounds in nature. So what I'd love you to do while I'm chatting through this one is just have a little chat amongst you. And I'd love for you to pop into the chat some of your favorite sounds in nature. So give me a couple of examples. So the sounds in nature have been proven by science too to tell us that they are amazing for our brains. And the really interesting part is you don't actually have to listen to them in nature. You can actually listen to recordings of them that are just as powerful too. So what's really cool is that doctors now, when they're giving surgeries, oh yeah, you come in to say the leaves crunching. That's a brilliant one this time of year. Thank you so much. What doctors are doing now to experiment during surgeries and procedures that you might go to your doctor for, they are playing the sounds of bird song or ocean sounds in the background while people are at the doctor. And they're finding that people who listen to the nature sounds are recovering faster, they're less scared of the procedure that they're getting, and they have an overall much better experience than people who don't listen to the nature sounds. So it's really cool to think about that. Simply listening to sounds of nature is amazing for our health and well-being. Okay, we've great stuff coming into the chat here now. Let me just check.
Think we may have lost Sarah there, have we? I think so. Hopefully she'll be joining again, but in the meantime, I'll run through some of them. So we have leaves crunching, that's a lovely one. The sound of rain falling on leaves, lovely. Birds singing, river flowing, trees rustling, wind blowing, owl hooting, lovely. When we're on bed listening to the raindrops on the roof, that's a really nice one, really relaxing. Grania says birds, wind, bees, buzzing, leaves rustling, crunching, and waves. Really, really nice. There's some gorgeous ones. We've some more people typing in here, so we'll wait to see those answers. And I think we've Sarah back there now. Splash of water, waves, birds, again, gorgeous. Hi, Sarah, you're welcome back.
Lovely. Sorry, guys, I got kicked out there somehow. Great. So still touching on all your nature sounds. Perfect. Thanks, Sarah. If you want to keep reading through those, I'll reshare my screen.
Yeah. We've been getting some really, really nice sounds and examples there. Birds singing, bees buzzing, the breeze. Thanks, Benishling. Animal sounds, sounds of owls, cows, horses, sheep. So many sounds.
Amazing. That's wonderful. Can you see my slides there again, guys?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Those are great examples. So there's so many different examples there. That's wonderful. And you're clearly already amazing at Nature Connection, guys. If you're already noticing all these things, you have it down. Oh yeah, and you've added sheep in there too. Thanks, Grania. Wonderful. Brilliant. So that's amazing. So just have a think about that. Next time you are maybe feeling a little stressed or a little worried, you can pop onto YouTube, maybe even when you're doing a task in school. And if you were doing a little bit of project work, your teacher could turn on the sounds of ocean waves in the background. And you could just see, does it have any impact? Maybe it makes people feel a little bit calmer or a little bit more chill. So it's really cool to think that science is showing us that nature isn't just pretty to look at, it's actively working to make us feel better. It's like there's a secret lab out there in the world running experiments to make us feel happier, calmer, and more focused, all without us even knowing it or having to think about it. So next time you're outside, maybe playing or walking, whatever you're doing, realize that you're activating all these amazing invisible nature superpowers for your brain and body. And the more you notice them and the more you practice it, the stronger your superpowers will get. Okay, cool. So I want to spend a minute or two telling you about a little project that I'm involved in Ireland, and then we'll get into a little activity together in a second. So I am, did you realize that in some parts of the world, when you go to your doctor, so you could go to your doctor if you go to counseling or a psychologist, if you go to a physiotherapist, anybody who's going to help you in the medical space, they might prescribe you exactly what you'll get here in Ireland. So they might prescribe you some tablets, they might prescribe you some physio exercises to do, might give you a couple of weeks of counseling. But in certain parts of the world, your doctor or clinician or whoever it is will also give you 10 hours in a forest in the next 6 weeks. So they might write down 10 tablets for whatever it is and 10 hours in a forest, which is so cool. This started in Japan in the 80s and it's in lots of places all over the world now. So here in Ireland, we have something similar, and it's called Woodlands for Health. And this is a bit like using nature as medicine. So we take people all over Ireland on guided walks in the forest, led by our really cool, friendly leaders who know all about the trees and the plants and the history. And some of them add in a little bit of meditation. Some of them add in lots of other cool little creative bits. And for 12 weeks, we take them on a bus, we give them lunch, we take them to the forest, and we really give them, lots of people all over the country, the chance for their bodies and their minds to recharge and relax, and for people to get the chance to connect to community. So as I was saying, the research has shown us now that people who spend time in nature can reduce their stress, make them feel happier and more connected, not just to nature, but also to each other, which is pretty cool. So it's nice to feel connected to your pals when you're outdoors. So imagine walking through the trees, listening to the birds, feeling the breeze on your skin, and sharing that experience with your best friends. Being part of nature and community is really powerful. So now I want you to have another little discussion amongst yourselves. So I want you to see the question there on screen. So when you would go on a walk in the woods, if you've never been to a forest, that's okay. Maybe you've been to a park, but please use your garden too, if whatever is accessible to you guys. So I want you to think, if you were on a woodland walk, what's the first thing you would like to do? So there's no right or wrong answers here. So I'll give you a few examples, and I'd love to hear some more into the chat then. So maybe you are a kid who would start running through the trees. Maybe you'd love to climb a tree if you could find one with cool branches to climb all over. Maybe you're someone who would search for and collect logs and sticks and make one of those little huts in the forest. Or maybe you're someone who goes a little bit slower. Maybe you would look for birds and insects. You could bring your magnifying glass. I'm sure you've done some of these things with school too. Maybe you would just sit down and listen in. So any examples you guys would have of the first thing you would do on a woodland walk in the forest? I'd love to hear from you guys. I will try not to kick myself out of the chat this time. Okay, there we go. Now I can see it. Brilliant. So take a moment to picture it in your mind. What would your first move be? I'd love to hear some of your examples in the chat. The really important thing to remember about nature is there's no right or wrong way to do it. And it's a special tool that we can all use to help ourselves feel a little bit better. Okay, so there's some great things coming in from Ben and Aisling. So to stand still, to listen and notice, beautiful, really nice. To sit down on a fallen trunk and listen to the birds, that's gorgeous there. I really love that example. And Miss Eleanor is saying to climb trees and find a spot to camp. Amazing, we've got some adventurous people in the group here, wonderful. And set up a tent and camp, brilliant. Oh my God, guys, you're great at the examples here. Okay, from Nikki, we have collect conkers, brilliant at this time of year. Climb a tree, go exploring, take pictures of nature, find a cool spot, admire the scenery and enjoy the smell of the earth, beautiful. I love when people say that they can take in the smells. My sense of smell is my worst sense. I'm always so curious to hear what people can smell. What else have we got? Look for bugs, stop talking and listen, find some leaves, look for a red squirrel. I love that one, that's brilliant. Search for animal life, climb a tree, dance in the forest, look around at everything, play with my friend. So we have Anastasia, Connie, Daniel, lovely coming in there, thanks guys. A brilliant one is to find some mushrooms. That's just come in from Sarah McCarran. Build a fort from fallen branches. Guys, I want to go into nature with all of you. You sound like the best fun. Loads of brilliant examples there. Okay, cool. You can keep those coming if you want, and I will continue on. So as I said, the most important thing about nature connection is just to do what feels right and fun and engaging for you. There's no right or wrong way at all. So when we think about going outdoors, even a short walk amongst the trees is going to give your body and your brain a little boost, just like medicine, but in a little bit more of a fun way. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little break from me doing all the talking. and we're going to do a little activity together. So I don't know in your schools, maybe I think schools are great for this these days, is to do a little bit of maybe yoga or meditation or visualization or even just calming down and being quiet for a couple of minutes. So we're going to go on a little adventure in our minds for the next couple of minutes. So what I'd love for you to do is, even if it's really hard for you to be quiet and to sit still, that's no problem. But maybe you could just let your neighbor give this a try as well, the person you're sitting beside. So for the next couple of minutes, we're going to stay in our seats and be as quiet as we can. And I'm going to get you to close over your eyes and we're going to journey into our imaginations. So if everyone could settle into their seat, put their feet on the floor, and close over your eyes. So first, I'm sure you're all great at this, but let's start off by taking in a big, slow, deep breath in through your nose, fill your body right up, and then breathe it out through your mouth. Exhale. Inhaling deeply into your body and sigh it out through your mouth. Exhaling. Inhaling deeply through your nose. Brilliant. And exhale fully through your mouth. Let's imagine that we're stepping into a fairy tale forest. The air is cool and fresh, like it feels just after it has rained. Maybe you can feel it on the skin of your cheeks. Maybe it tickles your nose a little because it smells so clean and earthy. Look around in your imagination. What do you see? Maybe you see a huge, tall tree, a line of them, reaching up on either side of the path in the forest to touch the sky. Their leaves might be sparkling in the sunlight. Some are still waxy from the summer and green. Some of the leaves on the trees have turned gold, red, orange, and brown, putting on an autumn show just for you. And looking closely, you can see some teeny tiny mushrooms hiding under the fallen leaves on the forest floor. Maybe a little squirrel darts across a branch, or a happy little bird hops from tree to tree singing beautifully. Now listen carefully. What can you hear in the forest? There's the soft rustle of the leaves as the wind whispers through the branches. Can you hear a babbling stream flowing somewhere nearby? Maybe birds are singing, or a woodpecker is tapping on a tree. Maybe you can even hear your own footsteps on the soft carpet of moss that covers the forest floor, with the crunch of the autumn leaves beneath your boots, crunching and scrunching. Take a big breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. What can you smell in the forest? Maybe you can smell the fresh grass, the wet earth, the pine needles, or the faint scent of the wildflowers hanging on from the summer. Maybe there's a whiff of something sweet, like some blackberries hiding in the brambles. Now imagine walking a little deeper into the forest. Feel the ground under your feet. Maybe it's soft and springy and spongy with the moss, or crunchy with the leaves. You notice some sunbeams breaking through the canopy of trees overhead. This autumn sunshine warms your face. Maybe you see a butterfly flitting past, or a tiny frog hopping on a log. Pause for a moment here in the forest and take another deep breath. Let your mind explore all the little details, the ones I've mentioned, and all the ones that your imagination conjures up. What are you noticing? Just up ahead on the path, you notice an animal crossing from one side of the forest to the other. It can be any animal you like. It is friendly and so happy to meet you here in the forest. Imagine you can talk to your animal. What would it say? Maybe a squirrel has a funny story to tell you about gathering nuts for the winter. Or maybe there's a frog who croaks a joke. Or maybe you have a conversation with a deer. You are part of the forest now, noticing everything around you, feeling the sunshine warm on your skin, connecting to the animals, hearing the crunch and scrunch of the leaves, noticing the sensations of the cool autumn air, taking in your sense of smell and everything you can see, noticing nature all around you. With our eyes still closed, let's take another big, deep breath into our nose. Imagine it's reaching all the way down to your toes before we breathe it back out. Breathing in and breathing out. And you can begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes in your shoes. Bring that movement up into your wrists and your ankles. You can twist them around, bring a little movement back in. You can turn your head all the way to one side and then to the other side. And you can put your arms up over your head and give yourself a big, delicious stretch in whatever way feels good. So from the tips of your fingers all the way down to your toes, wake your body right up. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and you can rejoin us, come back from the forest. So I'd love to know what stood out to you most in the forest. So maybe for some of you, it was a sound, a smell, a color. What was your animal? Maybe it was a feeling. There's no right or wrong way here. So you can stick some of those things into the chat, whatever you noticed, whatever stuck out most for you. I think for me, when I was writing that for you guys, it was the sunshine flickering through the trees, creating a pattern on the forest floor. I was putting that together. That was what most stuck out in my mind, but I'm curious to hear what some of your animals were maybe. So please feel free to stick some of that into the chat. And while you're doing that, it's really nice to remember that this is something you can do anytime. You can take a little mini adventure into nature in your mind if you're feeling stressed or worried. Just close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and imagine yourself walking in this forest. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes, and the more it can make you feel peaceful and happy. So Nikki is just typing there. I'll give you a little minute before we make our way on to our second last slide. Great. There was a panda in somebody's forest. I love it. Brilliant. That's great. That sounds like a fun forest to be in. Amazing. Super. Oh, and the little panda emoji. I love it. Thanks, guys. Amazing. I'll just give you another minute for that one, and then we'll move on. Okay, you can keep typing those in and I will continue on and we'll come back to them. So I've said already, the really cool thing about nature connection is that you don't need to be in a forest, on a mountain, or in the sea to benefit from it. You can be anywhere you can find a little bit of green space. So I want to leave you guys with some tasks to do today after the session or over the weekend or maybe together in school next week. One of my very favorite ways to start with nature connection. Oh, we have just one more of these coming in here now. Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, is to choose a sit spot. This is a place outdoors where you're going to go regularly. So you want it to be made really close to school or home. So you can go under a tree, on a bench, even a little corner of your garden or the yard at school. And what you want to do is you want to visit this place regularly. And what happens when you sit in the same spot all throughout the year is that you notice time changing, and that's the seasons changing every single day, just a little bit every day. So you'll notice in summer or in spring the bare branches start to grow their waxy buds. As that goes on, you'll notice the leaves start to pop out. You'll notice the trees in full bloom, and at the moment we're at the space where they're turning to autumn and going crunchy in different colors. So it's really fun to think about sitting in that spot all year long and noticing nature around you changing. Another really super simple way, the second one, is just to simply notice nature on your way to school. This is really easy. So just lift your eyes up and look around. Maybe how many clouds can you count? Can you spot some birds? Maybe you can hear one. Are there tiny little flowers poking out of the pavement? Maybe there's a tree that started to bloom. There's no right or wrong way here. Every day nature is putting on a little show for us. We just have to notice it. Notice the magic of it. So the third one is, if you can't get outdoors for any reason on any day, which happens to all of us, we can bring nature indoors. So like I said earlier, bringing in the sounds of nature, maybe playing some of those in the background, or even getting some houseplants into your classroom or into your home. Really lovely way. And you can always give your houseplants some interesting and fun names. I know my aunt has a spider plant called Martin. Or you could also draw a picture of your favorite tree or animal and stick it up somewhere that you might see often. So there's lots of different ways that we can connect to nature, and even starting with 10 or 15 minutes a week is an amazing place to start. So today we've learned about why nature is good for us, the science behind why nature is good for us. We've done a little bit of sensory exploration here online, but I'd love for you to do that outdoors in nature sometime. And I've given you some examples for how to connect to nature after today's session. So that's what we've learned, that nature is powerful. It can make us feel calmer and happier and more connected. And the really good news is we can do this anywhere we can find a green space for as short as 15 minutes a week, and that will make a difference. So that's my challenge for you. Take some of these things with you, find a sit spot, notice some nature, maybe even bring some indoors, and that will be an amazing way to start this journey of nature connection. And who knows, some of you on this call might have a job outdoors like me when you are an adult. So thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm so delighted I got to share even a little bit of my love of nature connection with you and its benefits. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. My email is there, and you're always welcome to send any questions on that way as well. And yeah, I hope you have a great weekend. You finished the week, well done. And yeah, it's lovely to spend time with you guys today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. That was really wonderful, really relaxing, and I think a really nice way to finish the week off. I know some people are probably heading back and finished soon, so that's great. And I hope everyone has the opportunity to connect with nature this weekend. Yeah, as Sarah said, if anyone has any questions, they're already coming in for Masters NS. What county has the biggest forest?
A good question. We actually
that?
have the worst forest coverage in all of Europe here in Ireland. We have 11% forest coverage, and of that, only 1 to 3% is native trees. So we have very low forest coverage, actually. It's a good question. What county has the biggest forest? I have actually never been asked that. So there's a new one for me. I would say some of the spots are Killarney National Park, I'd say would be a good one. They've incredible ancient trees there. It's amazing. We also have lots of forests and things in Wicklow, but the biggest forest is a good question. We have the biggest beech tree forest in Europe in County Meath. That's just all beech trees that's been planted. But yeah, we need a lot more native trees in this country. That's something that we really need more of. But yeah, great question. I will definitely be looking that up afterwards. What county has the biggest forest? My favorite forest or mountain in Ireland. Okay, that's a good one. My favorite mountain is the one that I can see from my bedroom window when I'm home in Tipperary. It's called Slieve na Mon in Irish, also Slieve na Mon, Mountain of the Women. And that's a great one. I've looked out my bedroom window at it all my life. That's my favorite mountain. And my favorite forest is an unexpected one. It's Phoenix Park in Dublin city centre. I bet you weren't expecting me to say a forest in a park. I get to work there all the time, and I see the seasons change every time I'm there. And it's really cool to get to share nature space with people who live in estates in the city. They might not have a lot of green space around them. So I love bringing people to Phoenix Park. So I have the two. My mountain is in the countryside and my forest is in the city. That's a great question. Well, good one for you to have a think about too. Thanks, guys. Brilliant. Thank you, Grania. Lovely. Thank you so much for having me today, guys. Brilliant. Great questions. And thanks for organising, Sarah. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I think we might wait just one more minute if we have one or two more questions, and then we'll
keep them coming,
wrap
guys.
it up. And if anyone wants to unmute themselves as well, they're free to do so if they prefer. or if anyone else wants to share their favorite forest mountain,
Yeah.
maybe one we
What's
haven't
yours, Sarah?
discovered before.
We were actually just talking about one of your forests before the call started, weren't we, Sarah? Massey Woods here in.
Yeah, Massey Wood. Yeah, I don't know if anyone knows it in Dublin. It's really, really nice too, if anyone has the opportunity to explore.
It's a gorgeous spot.
It really
Beautiful trees.
is. Yeah. Um, we've Grania typing in here, so we might wait a
Great.
second. But if you need to head off too.
Oh,
Okay,
Torque
great. Torque
Waterfall.
Waterfall.
Beautiful Curragh Chase and
Lovely.
Locker. Oh my God, they're amazing spots. Amazing spots. Beautiful. Torque is just stunning. Yeah, there's something about getting lost down there and you just feel like you're in another dimension. It's beautiful. Great examples, Grania. Thank you. Thanks, Ben and Aisling. Lovely.
Thanks so much, guys. Really nice to have you. Great.
Thanks,
Will we
Grania.
wrap it up there, Sarah? Thank you everyone so much for joining, and thanks to you, Sarah, as well for your time. That was really, really lovely.
Lovely. Thanks, guys. Have a lovely
Thanks
weekend.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.